Hey there, so today we have another video and we're talking about my top 10 worst beers of 2023. I did the best beers and then I thought to myself, well, there's probably a few bad beers that I had this year. And thankfully my memory works in the good way where I remembered a lot of the great beers that I had this year, but forgot about the bad beers I had. So I went back on the channel and checked out a bunch of the videos and I was like, oh wait, I definitely can make a top 10 list. So forgot them all, or most of them, but there's a list. So let's go with the top 10 worst beers I've had of 2023. So 2023, number 10 goes to, it's actually a beer that's actually not that bad. I think I gave it an 85, but it's one of the longest reviews I've ever done. And that goes to Founders of the Cranfather. That is a cranberry old-fashioned inspired ale barley wine thing. It's not necessarily a bad beer. It was just weird. And the execution was not, I mean, in the end, like, the beer was fine, but it tastes like infected barley wine. And then they didn't really execute the flavors too well. So it's just a really weird beer. So that just belongs to number 10 for me. Not necessarily a terrible beer, but just a weird beer. And the execution was not there. Number 9 goes to Evergreen Sorbetto, number 67. So shout out to Jeff for sending some awesome beers. I really appreciate it. But this beer just didn't work for me. Again, we talk about execution. It's a combination like pumpkin and coffee and sour. Like these are flavors that just didn't, like I read on labels like, man, this can be amazing. And it didn't work out. It tasted like pumpkin juice, which I don't know. Thankfully, nobody drinks pumpkin juice, but not good. So number 8, actually, this I will say there are 3 beers from this brewery on this list, which is actually crazy. Yes, number 8 goes to New Belgium Fat Tire, the new edition. What a terribly bland beer! Wow, I mean, it is pretty much like an American blonde ale, whatever you want to call it. But even then, like Kona Big Wave's like tastier. It's just a boring beer. So yeah, you can throw it in the trash, Audrey. Number 7 goes to another New Belgium beer. This is Atomic Pumpkin. What a weird beer. Like it's like a chili beer, but it doesn't really have any pumpkin flavor. And though they advertise the pumpkin, it just didn't work, and it just tasted like a macro-y kind of weird like chili and pumpkin. I don't know, man. It's poor execution. The beer didn't taste good. I don't know. And it was bland and watery too. So not only did it execute poorly, but also it was just a bland beer, just like the Fat Tire. So, yeah. Number 6. All right, there you go. That's an interesting one. The Alchemist Heady Topper. Say what? Yes, we're talking about the one that I reviewed with Scott at his apartment. Some great friend of his, or some person had a gift for him and gave him like a year-old can of Heady Topper. People talk about especially Augie Carton of Carton Brewing talks about aging certain IPAs, and I think you can certainly do that with the more classic ones that have some crystal malt to it and some bitterness. But boy, Heady Topper is not meant to be aged, and boy does it suck when it's aged. It's absolutely disgusting. It's bitter, and it doesn't have those really delicious hop flavors. The beer just completely falls apart. So I've never had the experience of Heady Topper that old. Thankfully, people drink it fresh, but. Thank you for the experiment. Thank you for the experience. I know not to age that beer. It is horrific aged. Number 5 goes to Coastal Mass Brewing. What was it? Tailfin. So I believe this was actually sent to me. It was unfortunate, but just a great example of, when New England IPA doesn't work. New England IPA doesn't work. It has that kind of grassy, polyphenol disgusting thing. And then that literally leads up to number 4, because Coastal Mass is a small brewery in New England. Sure, you could, whatever. But when a big brand like Toppling Goliath with King Sue, which is one of the most revered double IPAs I've ever had in my entire life, it was actually specially sent to me from a friend Nick, who used to do beer reviews. And hey, what's up? To see that brand get so completely disjointed and destroyed, and to really become the epitome of again, this beer was the perfect example of why New England IPA sucks these days, or at least some breweries that make them. It's just complete vegetal, polyphenol grass water, chalky. Literally, I still cannot fathom how some people choke these beers down. A lot of breweries make them, and I've reviewed a ton of them. And thankfully, I feel like I've been reviewing less and less of these. But then again, I've been, excuse me, purposely not buying New England IPAs because of this reason, freshness reasons, but also just, it sucks to spend especially if it's imported from comes from out of state. It can be anywhere from $4, $5, $6, $7 a can of just grass water, and it's really disgusting. And I don't know how people drink these things. Again, that's not just, I'm not knocking on New England IPA in general. I love New England IPA, but when it's executed to this poor quality and that flavor profile specifically, it is one of the worst beer styles you can ever imagine. So that goes number 4. Another another terrible one. We go to excuse me, Spanish Marie, Bad Baby No Squeezy. So this is a great example again of what sucks in the craft beer industry right now. The thing tasted like Midori. If you don't know, it's like a melon liqueur. The smoothie sour thing, pastry sour. What? There's some of these I freaking love. They're just super impression. Not something I chase every day, but when it hits, and I give them real good ratings. This is a great example of when it doesn't work. It tastes like melons and like vegetables. Man, this kettle sour thing is going a little too far, and that's a great. And the thing is, maybe I need to try more from Spanish Marie's, but like we're literally talking about a brewery that like lives off these like crazy kettle sours and has like 4 whatever on Untappd. And if you know Untappd, that's a very high rating. Like that's very respectable rating, but like, and it's all based on these like off the wall like gimmicky kind of sours, and this is a great example of gimmick sour that was nasty. Number 2, there you go, another New Belgium. Then it goes to Fruit Force. Man, is that gross. Again, another trend that I absolutely hate in this industry. So using like ingredients in weird ways, but when you get the artificial extract flavor and pump that into a hazy IPA, man, is it gross. It's just like, why? And like it literally just booze water at that point, because it's like 8.5%. People get wasted off of it, but then it's got this artificial flavor that makes no sense. So like even the base beer, who knows what, probably I would be okay with it, but that artificial fruit flavor just throws a trend that I do not want to see more breweries doing. Get that out of here. And it sucks because like there's 3 New Belgian beers on here, which is crazy because I actually love some of these New Belgian beers. Like what was it, the cold IPA, or it wasn't a cold IPA, but it was what was it called? Anyway, it's part of this like the Voodoo Ranger series, and it pretty much tasted like a cold IPA, and tasty. I actually do like their juicy hazy Voodoo Ranger. For a brand that's like I actually probably prefer it over even like Hazy Little Thing, which is like 2 big brands out there. Hell, I'll drink an Imperial Voodoo Ranger. I actually like that beer. So there's a lot of beers I like from New Belgium, but man, are there some stinkers on here. Artificial flavor from Fruit Force, disgusting. Get rid of that trend. And number 1 goes to Southern Tier Caramel Pumpkin. So literally, number 1 and 2 have that same issue. This artificial flavor thing is disgusting. Pumpkin already is, maybe not my favorite pumpkin. Hi. I'll get you more water in a second. I got it. Sorry. So the pumpkin already is not my favorite pumpkin beer, which is fine. Whatever. It's like an 80s something. I give it a B rating, whatever, maybe C at worst, whatever. But when you throw in that Yankee Candle caramel flavoring artificial thingy, and it doesn't even taste like tasty caramel, like the stuff that you'd get in like a caramel frappuccino or a caramel like Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks latte thing, not the creamy stuff. We're talking about the liquid, that like the extract thing. Like I used to work at Dunkin' Donuts when I was a kid. Like there's this flavor extract thingy that's like super potent, and just press a little button and it's like drops of it come out, and it completely takes over the flavor of a coffee, which is like, I was actually okay. When I was a kid, I had no problem drinking their hazelnut, the French vanilla, blah, blah, blah. But specifically how this caramel flavoring affected this pumpkin was atrocious. I couldn't get the smell out of my mouth, smell out of my nose. It just smelled disgusting. And I have no problem drinking caramel. Give me a caramel frappuccino. Like that'll be a treat, my dessert one day. Whatever. I'll mess around with that. But that flavoring was so intense and disgusting, and just dominated the beer. And so we certainly see some trends here where it's poor execution on flavors. Talk about this list. Aged beer, just bland beer like the Fat Tire, but then trends of like, kettle sours being all nasty, and flavor additions into beers, and then just like the classic, polyphenol, chalky, hazy IPA gross thing. So those are the worst beers of the year. A lot of things that I've been, ranting about in my reviews for years. But man, especially number 1 and number 2, these need to go away. This artificial fruit, caramel flavoring, vanilla, whatever you want to call it, the flavoring thing needs to stop. These additives are gross. They ruin beer. Just let the beer stand. I mean, or just use real ingredients. Like, yeah, throw in some caramel syrup into your pumpkin. I'm sure it tastes great, but the flavoring thing is gross. So post in the comments below, what is your worst beer 2023, but also like what trends do you not like? And we sort of talked about some trends here. Until next time, cheers. Later.